everyone. Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're opening up a new book called What If? And it talks about different, weird, wild, crazy questions and looks at them with very scientific answers. And so today we're looking at the introduction and the first question, global windstorm. So it starts off with the introduction where the author just says like, hey, growing up as a kid, I loved science, I loved math, and I would ask these really weird questions to my mom and try to do the math in them even at a young age. And I think he went to college, got a degree in science and physics, and worked with NASA for a while, and then quit all of that and became a cartoonist. So he did art for a while, but then he combined art and numbers. And some of the questions here in the book are from some of his best comic strips and even some news stories that he has. And there's even a disclaimer here in the book saying, this artist is not responsible for you taking any of this seriously and causing harm to yourself. But it sounds like a pretty funny book and some pretty funny ideas. So the first question here, and I want to read it to you, it goes, what would happen if the Earth and all terrestrial objects, terrestrial means on the land, suddenly stopped spinning, but the atmosphere retained its velocity? So that's the question that the author gets asked. And this is by Andrew Brown. And the author says, well, first of all, there would be a lot of death and destruction. The wind would be so powerful. Okay, so imagine the earth is spinning and the wind is spinning, but the earth stops. And so then just the wind is spinning. The wind would be so powerful and fast that it would just rip things off the earth. And humans would just go, you would just be dead in seconds, if not instantly. And so there would be a ton of destruction, and it would be pretty crazy. He continues, if this was the case, okay, if you looked at the earth, the middle would be the worst. But if you went out, and at the ends, it would be a little bit better. One of the best places to hide, if you wanted to try and live all this out, would be in Finland, who's north enough just to be out of the crazy wind range, although it'd still be crazy wind. But there's a mountain, Helsinki, and the mountain's not that safe, but under the mountain, at the bottom, there's a network of caves and tunnels where there's a shopping mall, an ice rink, and all sorts of stuff. And down inside the planet, you would be much safer from the wind. Well, what else? Okay, well, let's imagine that you had a bunker on the land, okay? A bunker is like a very strong building that is protected from explosions and bombs and things like that. So you had a bunker, and it can even be underground too. The problem is that your bunker might be protected from the wind, but the wind isn't the only problem. It's the things in the wind that are being carried by the wind. Imagine a tornado. Or tornado is really dangerous from the wind, but as a tornado starts to move, it starts to pick up other things, and those things are flying around the tornado. So your house might be safe from the tornado, but the other house flying in the tornado, crashing into your house, that's going to be a problem. If you were one of the lucky people that were at the polar ends of the earth, you'd be okay. But you would be wondering, why is the earth so quiet suddenly? There's no internet, there's no radios, there's no airplanes. Why is it so quiet? No birds flying, probably no animals. And eventually you'd realize that the earth has stopped and things are going bad because the sun wouldn't go down. Well, what else would happen? Well, the air is going to get really crazy. It's going to get really hot because it's moving so fast. But at the same time, it's going to get really cold, and it's going to, some crazy weather things are going to happen. The wind is going to pick up the top layer of ocean. And we say top layer, we're thinking like 100 feet down or 200 feet, could be farther. It's just going to pick it all up and create this fog and haze. And it's just going to heat up that water so fast. It's going to be, can't imagine what it's going to be. A new form of weather is going to happen. But in the sea, it's going to create so much energy that the deep water is going to come up, and it's going to bring all these minerals and nutrients up, which will help some life. But other life, like turtles and dolphins that need air, they're probably going to die. So the sea's going to get all crazy. The sun is going to just be staying there, and we're going to be slowly going around it. And day and night will last about 6 months. So 6 months day and then 6 months night. On the sun side, it's going to be really hot, baking things, crazy weather. On the back side, it might be frozen, or that weather is going to be all crazy on the backside too. Finally, it ends with the moon, which is really cool. The moon is still spinning. The moon is still spinning around the earth, so we'd still have time and months. But what would happen is, because the way the earth is spinning and the tides, I guess, on the earth, they actually push the moon away from us to keep it from coming in. But once the earth stopped, the moon would start to slowly come back in. And as it came back in, that gravitational pull would start to make the water move again, which would start to make the earth move again. And as the earth moved again, the moon would slowly start to bounce back out, and we'd have balance again, which is really crazy. And I love the little comic strip, the moon saying, "Earth, are you okay? Don't worry, I'm not leaving. I'm going to help you." And I don't know how many thousands of years, millions of years that would take, or if the moon would actually crash into the earth before it generated enough force to spin. But the moon would slowly start to help us spin again. That leaves us with some vocabulary. First one, verbatim, word by word, saying something word by word. Supersonic means the wind is moving faster than the speed of sound. Scoured is like scrubbed or ripped clean. Pulverized means to pound into dust. Negligible means tiny, or you can ignore it, small, unimportant. Influx is a huge change in energy or temperature. Cold to hot. And that leaves us with my discussion question. Would you want to be a survivor if this happened? Maybe in Helsinki, in the subway system, in the shopping center. Would you want to survive and be part of the human race living? Or just say, man, you know what? Just let me be out in the open. Boom. Half a second, I'm gone. What would you prefer? Or maybe even something else. Going to outer space with Jeff Bezos, or living on the moon with Elon Musk, something like that too. That is all the time we have for today. But thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.